Now, Huda, how can you confidently call yourself and Jeremiah the mommy and daddy of the group when mommy still hasn't told daddy that she has a baby? Let's talk about it.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're going to talk about it. I'm so happy to have you guys here with me today to discuss Love Island Season 7, Episode 3. I am really enjoying this show so far. For those of you who don't know, this is my first time watching Love Island, and I'm having a time, okay? So let's get right into this review. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you are made aware when I post a new video, because I'm uploading these videos every day. Every day. That's the goal. And so far, we've been staying on schedule. Okay, so let's get right into this review. So I got the new lineup on the bottom of the screen. All right, Nick and Sierra are the new couple, and Ace, Bella, and Charlie are single and vulnerable. I had to go get a new picture of Charlie because someone said that I did him wrong with the picture that I chose in my last video. They said he looked like he ain't had no teeth. Okay, are you happy with the new Charlie? Here you go. This is for you. All right. So we pick up right where we left off after the bombshell steal, and Nick is still trying to justify why he dumped Bella for Sierra. Child, Nick, I don't think that you should even be doing all of this. You picked her. It is what it is. That's the name of the game, okay? But he says that his gut was telling him to go for Sierra, but he never intended to hurt anyone. And like I said before, Nick and Sierra do have a better vibe than he does with Bella. It is what it is, all right? So Taylor tells him that it was weird that Alandria moved over away from him when he came back to sit on the couch. And Jeremiah says, oh, so she can go kiss other people, but you can't stand up? I mean, that's exactly what I said, okay? Then we see Ace say that it seems like Huda isn't approachable, and the statements that she made during the bonfire is setting a tone like everyone should already be matched up, and that's not cool. He's not feeling that because remember, when the guys were getting up to go over to Sierra, Huda was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing you like that. Oh my gosh, why is he doing that? You need a real man. And Ace makes a good point. Look, it's only day 3, and just because Huda thinks that she's with her perfect match doesn't mean that everyone else should feel like they're also at a point where they don't need to explore anymore, okay? So Austin says that he was surprised that Shelly didn't stand up, and in that moment, he wanted to sit back down. Boy, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, okay? But he says that he's happy because standing up got him out of his comfort zone. Okay, Austin. So Charlie is saying that he thought Shelly would have stood up. I told y'all, that's why when he sat back down, that's why he looked at her like that. Like, girl, what? You ain't stand up for me? For me? But Charlie still hasn't caught on to the fact that she is not feeling him like that. Shelly is not feeling you, Charlie, okay? I guess her giving him those little pecks on his lips wasn't clear enough for him, but he does say that he's now ready to find a real connection. And I'm like, well, you better find it fast because no one stood up for you. No one stood up for you, Charlie, okay? Meanwhile, on the ladies' side, Huda is crying. And I'm like, oh boy, what's going on? And Alandria is hoping that it's not because of what she said at the bonfire. And I said, it better not be because of what you said at the bonfire. Huda, don't piss me off, okay? So Huda says that Alandria should have came to her in private, and she says it was rude and she would never do that to someone. Now, I do believe, like I said before, that Alandria was already frustrated because Taylor got up, and she did take a bit of that out on Huda, a bit of it. But like I said, Huda, you are also doing a lot in the moment, bigging up your man when y'all don't even know each other like that, okay? But also, Huda is crying as if Alandria yelled this information across the room and everyone heard it and it was a big thing when it wasn't. Only you and Jeremiah heard what Alandria said. It's not that serious, in my opinion, for you to be crying like this, not feeling that, okay? But Shelly gives her a hug and she tells her, look, I don't think that Alandria meant any harm by it, but Huda doesn't think that it's right because they're supposed to be sisters, okay? And she thought that she was doing the right thing and she was being supportive in that moment. So when Bella explains this to Alandria, she's like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I was just trying to tell her that we'll have a cute little girl chat about it later, not to do it here at the bonfire. And she does feel bad that Huda is crying, okay? Now, I do understand where the both of them are coming from because honestly, both of their tones during that bonfire conversation, that little back and forth, could have been taken a certain way by each person and been misinterpreted. I can understand how that happened, all right? So next we see Alandria. She pulls Huda aside for a chat and she tells her that she didn't realize that she hurt Huda's feelings in that moment, but she does realize that she could have said it differently or said nothing at all, okay? But she thought that Huda was about to go off off on the guys, which is why she told her, don't do that right now. It's okay. We're not mad. We'll have a little chat about it later. Like, we're not going to do that in front of these guys. And she tells Huda that she's her girl, and Huda reiterates that she was really just trying to be supportive, and they high-five each other and they share some I love yous, and the issue is pretty much squashed for the moment, okay? And I will say that I did like this conversation, and I definitely don't think that this issue is something that they shouldn't be able to get past, all right? So next we see that Nick is still smitten with Sierra, and he is so excited to be sleeping in the same bed with her tonight. And baby, Sierra is equally excited to have her man. Okay, I think that Sierra really likes Nick. So next we see Taylor. He comes in to speak to Alandria, and he tells her that he got up because he's interested in exploring. And Alandria makes a good point, and she asks him, how did your little conversation with Sierra trump what we had going on? Okay, because even if you remained seated, you still would have been able to explore with Sierra, and we would have still remained a couple. She's right. He did put her out there by standing up. And Taylor is like, yeah, but, and baby, Alandria was like, hold on, I'm not done talking. I said, ooh, she's upset with you. And she tells him straight up that she is irritated by what he did. Okay. So Taylor claims that he didn't intend to stand up. Now, Tay, I don't believe that. I do think that he did it to be petty and for some get back, since Alandria had stood up and kissed Ace, and that is exactly what he used to justify it. He's like, look, I wasn't mad at you yesterday, okay? I wasn't mad at you for what you did, so there's no way that you can be mad at me, but most of all, my feelings for you haven't changed, okay? But now Alandria is second guessing if Taylor even likes her like that as much as he claims, since he was more than willing to throw her away over a short chat that he had with someone brand new, okay? But she does tell him that she appreciates him for sharing his view on the matter, and they're good for now. We'll see. So now we have Austin low-key trying to claim that he only stood up because he thought that Shelly was gonna stand up. Boy, if you don't stop, if you don't stop your mess, okay? Shelly didn't even budge. She was sitting very comfortably, so comfortable that you actually used her knee to help yourself get up to walk over to Sierra. We all saw it. He literally grabbed her knee to brace himself to get up to walk over to her, okay? But Shelly tells him that she isn't mad about it and she sees no problem with him exploring. And Austin says that he wants to keep building on their connection. And Shelly also tells him that although she's not ready to jump ship just yet, she's keeping her options open. Meanwhile, in her confessional, child, she lets us know that she would have bet $100 that Austin would not have gotten up during that bonfire. And him standing up spoke volumes to her, okay? That's what she's telling you and I. But to Austin's face, Shelly is telling him, oh, it's all good. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay to explore. And they share a little hug. Shelly said, you know what? Let him think that he's safe with me so that he doesn't go trying to form another connection again with someone else, leaving me vulnerable, okay? I see your game, Shelly. I see your game. I'm not mad at it because honestly, at this point, I think that they're both using each other for the same reason. Neither of them are feeling each other like that, okay? So now it's bedtime and we see Charlie and Bella, they're chatting, and he was asking her how she felt about Nick now being coupled up with Sierra. And right when she was about to answer his question, Nick walks into the bedroom, so they agree to chat about that another time, okay? So next we see Austin. He goes and he lays at the edge of Alandria's bed, and I'm like, is he confused? Do you know that's Alandria? That's not Shelly, right? I know they look alike, but he knew. He was just having a friendly conversation with her, okay? And where is Shelly, you might ask? Oh, Shelly is downstairs talking to Ace about Austin getting up. And he says, look, although he was shocked, he was also a little happy that Austin got up for selfish reasons, of course, but he says that he just wanted to check on her. So why did Ace tell Shelly to smell something on his shirt? And when she leaned over to smell his shirt, he kisses her on the forehead. Look, these two are adorable. They just are. They're really cute to me. And when they go to the bedroom, Ace makes sure that he waits back a little bit so that they don't look suspicious walking in together, okay? But Alandria peeps it. She peeps it and she smiles at them. So it's morning time and we see Charlie making Bella coffee. Ace is making breakfast for Bella, Shelly, and Alandria, and he brings it up to the ladies as they're getting ready. And I'm like, okay, I see you, AC Pooh, but just make sure that you don't make any breakfast for Huda because Jeremiah will crash out. He will crash out, all right? So then we see Taylor also bring food up for Alandria. He clearly didn't notice that Ace had already brought her a plate. Like, he didn't notice this at all. Listen, Ace is single and vulnerable, so he is working on everyone who is either vulnerable, that's Bella, or in a weak relationship, in his opinion. That's Shelly and Alandria, and I'm not mad at it, okay? Meanwhile, we see Jeremiah and Huda giving themselves props once again. Huda says, listen to this. Huda says that she feels like they are the parents of the bunch. Huda, you got to slow down, baby. You got to slow down. You are very confident in this relationship. And again, there's so much that you haven't told him and you've only known him for like 3 days, okay? But she tells us that she's really feeling him and she's getting closer and closer to telling him that she has a daughter, but the time will never be perfect. And honestly, this is such a touchy subject because I totally understand why in the real world, especially, women hold off on revealing that they have children, or they won't even date. Some women won't even date if they have young children, especially because you never know if the guy is only interested in you to gain access to your child. I know it sucks that you even have to think about that, but that is the reality that we live in. But at the same time, Jeremiah does deserve to know, okay? Because if it was reversed, I am sure that Huda would want to know as soon as possible, all right? So for the moms watching who are also dating, if you feel comfortable sharing in the comments, how or when do you disclose that you're a parent, okay? And what advice would you give to Huda in this situation or to other mothers watching? Let us know in the comments, all right? So next we see Sierra and Nicholas. They're bonding over waffles and Shrek, and they decide to go into the photo booth where they take some really cute, flirty pictures. And while that's happening, we see a very emotional Bella telling Huda that she still hasn't spoken to Nick and she's feeling very small right now because her value always gets overlooked. And honestly, I hate that for her. I really do. I don't like for anyone to feel like that, okay? But Huda offers her comfort and words of encouragement. Like, listen, if there's one thing that we know Huda is gonna do, okay, when you're feeling down, she gonna remind you that you sexy. She gonna remind you that you a bad bitch and that you have nothing to worry about. Huda is that girl, okay? And she also reminds Bella that although she may be attracted to Nick, their values are clearly different. And I said, yeah, Huda, you're right about that, okay? So Bella tells us that she's not necessarily crying over some guy that she just met 3 days ago. Well, she didn't say guy, she said boy. Side note, I find it so weird on the show that they call these adults boys and girls. It's weird to me, but okay, whatever. Anyway, Bella says that her crying isn't a sign of weakness, but instead it's a sign of growth. Look, I just feel like, unfortunately for Bella, shows like these usually attract, horny men, okay? It is what it is. And if they have to choose between kisses on the cheek and getting blindfolded and tongued down, baby, they're gonna opt to get blindfolded and tongued down every time. Every single time. I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just saying, okay? So next we see Nicholas venting to Huda about his dilemma with Bella and Sierra. And he hasn't spoken to Bella yet because he's focusing on Sierra today, but he does plan on speaking to her eventually. But he tells us that he is very satisfied with his decision to date Sierra, okay? And he says he's going to take it as far as he can. So Huda tells him that he needs to at least tell Sierra that he still has strong feelings for Bella so that she knows what's going on. So here's what's really going on, in my opinion. Nicholas wants Huda and Bella to believe that he's struggling with this decision and it was so hard for him to pick between the two when it really wasn't, okay? It really wasn't. It clearly wasn't. Meanwhile, Charlie is putting the Mac down on Bella and he tells her that he originally wanted to take her to the hideaway, but he was afraid that she would freak out. And I said, child, if Bella went to that hideaway and saw those damn whips and chains in there, she would have gave him a kiss on the cheek and ran up out of there, okay? With the quickness. But she loves that he even considered her comfortability and she's definitely feeling him. And I think that Charlie might be the first one to get a real kiss from Bella. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So next we see Taylor check in with Alandria and she says that she's feeling better now. She apologizes to him for the way that she reacted by him standing up, but it made her realize that he's not as considerate as she is. I said, huh? Were you considering him when you got a okay, you know what? Okay. So they talk about their love languages and Alandria says that she likes to give and receive gifts. And Taylor says that he's a great gift giver because he pays attention to detail. I said, well, why didn't you notice that Ace had already brought her breakfast this morning, Taylor? If you pay such attention, you ain't noticed that big ass plate of food in front of her before you drop down the second one? You definitely missed that, okay? But when Alandria said that if she likes a man, she's gonna trick on him, Taylor got a little too happy for me. He got a little too happy when he heard that. And I was like, I don't like that. But overall, the conversation did end on a good note, okay? Child, next we see Nick go to speak to Bella, finally. And Sierra is just staring at them as they walk over to the water. And he tells Bella that although he really likes her, he had a connection with Sierra and he felt it would be wrong not to explore it, okay? So Bella tells him that he threw her a curveball and he should have at least told her as soon as he realized that he was feeling Sierra more than her because he made her look like a fool, okay? But Nick claims that his mind wasn't made up. Sir, stop. You know that your mind was made up as soon as Sierra blindfolded you in that damn hideaway, but okay. So Bella tells him, look, I've been done dirty too many times to put myself in a position to let that happen ever again. And I said, oh, okay, Bella. She even started speaking differently. I was like, what kind of accent is that? I couldn't pick up on it, but she was not playing with Nicholas. And I said, I really like this energy, okay? But she wishes him and Sierra the best. And he's like, okay, but I still want you to know that I'm attracted to you. He's clearly trying to keep Bella in his back pocket. And she reminds him that she's the one who's single. So if he wants to change something, the ball is in his court. And I said, girl, didn't you just say that you're not going to put yourself in that position to get... Was that just for show, for dramatics? Okay, Bella. So we see Ace and Shelly. They're getting to know each other even more, and she's loving their conversation. But when she thinks of Austin, she gets a more platonic vibe from their conversations, okay? She says that they don't have that familiar banter that she has with Ace. And Ace tells us that he loves that they can talk about any and everything, and it doesn't have to be serious all the time. He says talking to her gets him through the day, and Shelly is definitely someone special. And I said, okay, so when she's ready to have that serious conversation, will you be ready? That's what I want to know. Or are you one of those play all day type of guys, Ace? We're going to see. All right. So next, child, we see Sierra. She goes over to chat with Bella and Alandria. And Bella says that Charlie is sweet, but she still really likes Nick. Bella, what? Bella, what was all that you know what? I had to remember. Maybe some of us forgot. Bella told us in episode 1 that she is a proud resident of the Lululand. She told us straight up. So I guess I can't be mad. She was honest from the get-go that she lives in the Lululand, okay? So Sierra said that the other guys are cool, but none of them compare to her man, Nick. Child, Sierra is letting Bella know, like, look, this one right here, I'm not letting go of him, okay? I'm not letting go of Nick. So, child, it's nighttime and everyone is getting dressed, and Ace is complaining because the guys aren't cleaning up after themselves. Absolutely gross, all right? And we see Jeremiah telling Ace that his type is foreign and Latina. And in order for his feelings for Huda to change, a Latina would have to walk through the door. And I said, that's it? Just be Latina and no personality conversation? Okay, Jeremiah. All right. So on the ladies' side, Sierra says that she's making sure that she looks good AF tonight so that she can keep her man, child. And Bella is like flat ironing her hair. She gave her the side eye. Listen, I actually like this little rivalry that the ladies are having. It's juicy, it's messy, and I'm here for it, all right? So they all go outside, and Huda pulls Shelly aside to talk about the fact that only her and Alandria know that she has a daughter. And she says that she almost slipped up and mentioned it a few times since it's just so natural for her to always speak about her child. And I'm like, well, you've done a mighty fine job not slipping up and telling Jeremiah, okay? You've done a great job at that. And Huda tells Shelly that she hasn't brought her daughter up to anyone else because she doesn't want anyone to use it against her. And Shelly is like, hold on, so you're saying that you haven't told Jeremiah yet? And Huda says no, because she wants to make sure that she trusts him and that his mindset is mature enough to handle it. Okay, so Shelly tells her, look, if he's the one, you can say it now, you can say it later, but his response is going to be his response. And Huda agrees that now is the right time, but she's afraid that he'll get upset at her for not telling him sooner, or that he just doesn't see himself being with a mother because she really likes him and she's afraid of rejection. And I get that, but you need to tell him. You need to tell him, all right? So, child, Ace gets a text message telling the Islanders that it's time for a game, and I got really excited for this because this is my first Love Island game, okay? Yay for me. So for this game, it's the guys against the ladies, and they have to rate them from least to most based on their responses to some juicy, juicy questions, all right? And at the end, they'll tally all the points up, and the team with the most correctly placed cases wins the game. So, child, we learn a lot from this game. I mean, these numbers are self-reported, so everyone could possibly be lying, but let's run through it, okay? So as far as cheating, Ace, Taylor, and Charlie have never cheated. Austin has cheated 6 times, okay? Jeremiah has only cheated once, he says, and Huda is not pleased to find out this information. But when it's time for Jeremiah to state his case, he says, look, it was a month into the relationship, and I told her immediately after I did it, and I learned my lesson, all right? And Nick also cheated once. So for the ladies, Huda, Bella, Sierra, and Alandria have never cheated, and Shelly cheated once. She states her case, and she says, look, it was with my homegirl. We were at the club, and we just kissed each other. So the guys win that round, all right? So the next question is, who do you think has had sex with the most people in one day? Charlie's number is 1. Austin's is 4, and he states his case. He says, look, my libido is high. I said, okay, Nick's number is 2. Bella's number is 1. Shelly's number is 2. And the guys are shocked by this, but she says, look, she was dating 2 girls at the time. She slept with 1 in the morning and she slept with 1 at night. Okay, Huda's number is 2. And when it's time for her to state her case, she says, look, the first guy didn't satisfy me, so I had to call the second. I said, child. So listen, there are a couple more rounds, and we learned that Nick has sent 800 nudes, but he says that it was because he was in a long distance committed relationship. So, they were sending pics back and forth for a while. Austin has sent thousands of nudes, okay? And the most nudes that any of the ladies have sent was Huda with 20. So now they get to body counts, all right? So Charlie's is 108. Taylor's is 21. Nick's is 22. Jeremiah's is 32. Ace's is 25 and Austin's is 104. And I'm like, how old are these children again? How old are these children? Okay, listen, while the numbers are being revealed, the ladies are realizing that Austin isn't as innocent as he pretends to be. Okay, so now it's time for the ladies. Bella's body count is 1. Alandria's is 8. Huda's is 13. Sierra's is 18. And she says, look, I'm grown and I'm not ashamed of my experiences. I said, okay, mamas. And Shelly's is 12. So the game is over. The fellas won. They're very excited. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay, so after the game, the ladies and gents split up and they discuss all of this new information that they've learned. So the ladies are now giving Austin and Charlie the side eye, but especially Charlie because they feel like he had an excuse for everything and they kind of feel like he was lying about some of his reasoning, all right? During the game, we learned that Jeremiah has said, I love you to 10 people. And Huda says that she's not surprised because she kind of gets the impression that he's love bombing her right now, okay? And he probably moves just as quickly with everyone else, so it's giving red flags for her. So during the men's conversation, Charlie is convinced that after this game, all of the girls have the ick for him, all right? And next we see Ace messing with Jeremiah's head once again about Huda sleeping with 2 guys in the same day because the first guy didn't please her. So Ace is like, so what if you didn't please her, right? And she lied to you and she said that you did please her and then she goes and sleeps with someone later that night. Child, Ace, leave this man alone. Ace is so messy. Oh my goodness. He likes to pick on Jeremiah and we're going to see why in just a bit, okay? So next we see Huda and Jeremiah. They step aside for a conversation and she asks him about all of those I love yous. And Jeremiah says, look, most of those came between like the ages of 16 and 19. I didn't know what love was. I was just saying it, okay? But he says that since he's been in his 20s, he's only said I love you to maybe 1 or 2 women, okay? So meanwhile, Ace is having a conversation with Taylor, okay? And he says, you know what? All those I love yous, right, that Jeremiah been saying, it's giving love bomber. It's giving love bomber, and now I'm giving him the side eye. Listen, Ace is getting a bit of fake vibes from Jeremiah, and I feel like that's why he keeps picking at him because he wants Jeremiah to crack. That's just my opinion, all right? So, child, now we're back to Huda and Jeremiah, and she asks him, what are his non-negotiables for the women that he dates? Like, what type of woman would he never date? And he says, well, I wouldn't date someone who isn't, family-oriented or who doesn't have close friendships, blah, blah, blah. That's not what she's trying to hear, okay? That's not the answer that she's trying to get to. So Huda says, look, I have something to tell you, and I hope that regardless of what I say, you stay true to your feelings. And he's like, okay, okay. And she's like, look, I'm very mature, I'm very mature, and I want to get to know you on a deeper level, okay? And I really like you. And I'm like, girl, spit it out. Spit it out, because at this point, Jeremiah's heart is racing. Like, you can literally see it on the screen. You can see that his breathing has changed and he is genuinely afraid for whatever it is that she's about to say, okay? So she finally spits it out and she tells him that she's a mom. And he says, oh my God, you're a mom? And you're 24? First of all, his tone when he said that question gave me the vibes like, why are you a mother at 24? That's what I got from it. That's what his face and his voice said to me, okay? Then he asks her, well, how many kids? And she's like, oh, I only have one child. But the look on his face was like, well, this is over. That's just the vibe that I got. Let me know what you interpreted in the comments, okay? And then he puts his head in his hands and he can't even look at her. She's like, look at me. And he's not lifting up his head. Not quite the reaction that you would want to get after telling someone something like this, but I can understand that he's just in shock. He's like processing everything. So I get it. But that's where the episode ends, and we'll see his response later on tonight. But tell me, what do you think it's going to be? Based on this, I honestly think that he's going to try to play it cool, right? And act like he doesn't care, like he's cool with it, just so that he doesn't look like an a-hole. But I think that he's out of there based on the way that he reacted. And child, don't let a Latina with no kid come up in there, because he's really going to be gone. All right. So tell me all of your predictions. How do you feel about Ace's new focus on Jeremiah? How do you think Jeremiah is going to respond to this news? How do you think Huda went about telling him this news? Tell me all your thoughts and opinions down below. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe before you leave. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk